We welcome in the Celtics president of basketball operations, Brad Stevens. Brad, this was your first time in the war room as the man calling the shots. I know not many of the parts around you changed, but was it different this time around?
I wouldn't say it's that much different. Obviously it wasn't a night. We didn't have 8 picks, so which we've had, at least one other time since I've been here, thankfully. So I'm excited that, we were able to get who we got at 45. He's a guy that we saw earlier this week that had got a chance to come in and work out for us, that we've been watching for a long time, and that has a lot of NBA-ready qualities. So he's a guy that, we're excited about. And, but as far as the night and, the room or whatever the case may be, I think that stuff's probably all a little bit overrated. You're just trying to stay on your toes and trying to be organized heading into the day, so that you're ready for anything that may come your way.
You mentioned that 45th pick, Juhann Begarin, I think is the pronunciation we're going with. Just 18 years old. What is the plan for him initially?
Well, I think we're still figuring that out. I think he's likely to be, overseas next year. But we'll take the next few weeks and figure all that stuff out. He is, again, really strong for his age. He's a great person, hard worker, and a heck of a basketball player. And so we're excited to have him. And, we'll figure out what that means for Summer League this year and what that means for where he'll be next year. But we're excited that he's a part of our organization.
Brad, we were just listening to your press conference, and you kind of alluded to you want some guys that can help accentuate Jaylen and Jayson. You also maybe alluded to getting some veteran guys in here. Is that like sort of the plan moving forward, looking at your roster?
Well, I mean, yeah, and I think, when you talk about veteran scout, you've been around the league and around a lot of different teams and players. And, I think that, and we saw this last year, we just have a lot of young guys on our roster. I mean, I think we were the second or third youngest team in the league last year. And yet, because we've got, a few guys that have played in the biggest moments, I think we've missed, sometimes have not realized that. And I think it's really important that those guys that we're building around are accentuated by people that know their roles, that understand, what winning looks like, why every detail matters, and can help bring that out of each other. I think that we've had guys in the past that have done that really well. We've been on a fortunate streak of, a bunch of years in a row in the playoffs and some good long runs. But, for last year to just be a blip and not be more of what we are, then we need to make sure that we are additive with respect to, people that can accentuate and bring strengths out of each other.
Brad, one of the words I think you used was edge and experience. What does edge mean to you, and what would the qualities be of the players that you would try to target with that?
Well, everybody's going to bring different strengths to the table. I think when I talk about edge, that can be a number of things. It can be it starts with competitiveness, starts with a willingness to do hard things, a unselfishness to do hard things and not necessarily always reap the rewards of, the person that gets the headlines, right? I think that it's so important that teams are built with, people that bring different things to the table and bring a toughness to the table that, kind of permeates throughout the team. And so, when I talk about edge, you can obviously talk about a physical toughness or a mental toughness, a grit that you see very easily in others. You can also talk about like the desire to, be a part of something special and you know, represent this place, you know, with, you know, kind of that you know, toughness and grit that, you know, our fans love. And I think that those are things that are going to be important, and they're going to be important as we continue to look for, again, the right fits around our team. It's important that our guys that are back continue to embrace those things.
Brad, free agency is just 4 days away. And as you said moments ago during your press conference, there are a lot of things that still need to be done to set yourselves up to make good things happen for this team. So as you look ahead and turn the page from the draft, where are your priorities? What are the points of emphasis for you right now?
Yeah, really just what I talked about with regard to adding people that add to the whole, add to the good of the whole, that bring out the best in others, that can accentuate others, that are good fits for what we're trying to accomplish while managing and navigating, you know, where we are financially and where we want to be from a long-term perspective.
Coach, Brad, I'm gonna have to figure that out. Mr. President.
There you go.
So you've watched the NBA playoffs, been involved in the NBA playoffs from a coaching standpoint. Was it different watching these playoffs, the finals, from now your position as president of basketball operations?
No, and I think that's what I think what I have to do. I think anytime you're in a new position where you don't have all the answers, right, is you have to soar with what you do know best, and that is, you know, I've coached a lot of games in the NBA, you know, and I've been here for 8 years and seen it through that lens, and so I still very much look through it through that lens. And you know, it is interesting when you get into the front office discussions, what's super important to people that have coached and haven't coached. And I think that that's good discussions. It's often lively discussions. And, you know, Scal, you've been on those sidelines, you kind of know. And so it's, but I think that I'm going to say that needs to be a strength and a uniqueness of me in this position, you know, because I still have a long way to go and, you know, in a lot of other ways.
Brad, what'd you make of, you know, like a team like Atlanta, who had a rocky start but ended up, you know, in the Eastern Conference Finals? Phoenix Suns, add Chris Paul, Milwaukee Bucks, small market. Like, what'd you make of, you know, like the playoffs this year compared to years past?
Well, I do think this is well documented. It was a weird year. And I think you saw some teams really play well. And, you know, some maybe when you talk about Atlanta's long run or Phoenix's long run, teams that were really deserving of a long run that maybe you wouldn't have predicted at the start of the year, but they played great. They had really good players. And when you really looked at it, it's not that big of a surprise, right? But this was a tough year because of the navigating of all the circumstances for every team. But I thought, that being said, that the NBA Finals were a great version of basketball. I thought that the Suns and Bucks put on a show. I thought it was physical. I thought it was tough. I thought it was, you know, relentless from a play standpoint. I thought both teams just competed the way that you want basketball teams to compete. I have so much respect for the way the Suns left it all out there and the way the Bucks finished it off. And, you know, their size and physicality obviously had a huge impact on winning that series. And so thought the season ended well from the standpoint of the NBA. That product on the floor was high level. You know, a lot of us are shooting to, you know, try to be in that position.
Brad, how's Jaylen's hand recovery going? And Rob Williams, is he been able to get back on the floor since the playoffs with the turf toe and all that? And then finally, just watching Jayson from afar, what have you been able to be in communication with Ime and them, and how's that going over there from your vantage point?
Well, I went and saw those guys in Vegas when practice started. So I was at the first 2 or 3 days of USA practice, and then before they left for Tokyo, and I talked to Ime every day, and talked to Jayson just yesterday, and they seem to be doing all right. I do think it's it's a unique Olympics, and they by no means have complained at all. So please don't put words in their mouth, but being basically in your hotel and being there without fans and everything else, it is a truly unique experience when you're 13 hours removed from where you are or your time zone that you'll live in. And I think, but from the standpoint of Rob is getting better, looks good. Saw him a couple days ago. I think that if he hasn't cleared to play today, he's cleared to play anytime soon. And Jaylen just had another scan, looks great. He's been working out here every day, and has done stuff with other people on the floor with him. And supposedly will be cleared for live contact within the next couple of weeks. So both guys should be ready to not only be cleared for training camp, but, far before that, so that they can ramp up appropriately.
Ooh.
Well, that
think
was
that's
some
a-
good
that's
news.
it. That's
Yep,
all
to
you
wrap
got.
Up draft
At
night
the buzzer.
2021.
Brad's still making clutch threes at the buzzer.
That's right.